In this video, I will be going over lesson 6, which is about comparing methods of problem solving. Our first question here says that Lorenzo orders 3 pizzas for delivery. The bill total, including a $4 delivery fee, is $42.85. He uses the following equation to figure out the cost of each pizza. So it looks like he has 3 times C plus 4 equals $42.85. When he solves the equation, he gets C equals $12.95. How could Lorenzo correctly solve this problem without using the equation? Okay, well, I know that he has to pay this $4 delivery fee, right? So regardless of how much each of those pizzas cost when he's buying 3 of them, he's going to have to pay this $4 once, just because he has to pay that in order for them to drop it off. So the first thing I would do to figure out how much each pizza is I would take out this $4 delivery fee from my total. So the first thing I would do is I would subtract that $4 delivery fee. So if we look at our answer choices, this says by adding 4, this is dividing the total cost and dividing the total cost. So it looks like A is the only one that starts with subtracting that $4 from the total cost of the pizza first. Our next one says that Shang drives at a constant speed for 0.2 hours to get to the train station. He then boards a train that takes him 35 miles downtown. His whole trip is 42 miles long. How can Shen determine his driving speed? Match each step of the arithmetic solution with the correct description. So here we have 2 different options. We have a step 1 and we have a step 2. And we have the 2 different options on the other side to see which one should we do first. So this first option here says that we are going to divide by 7 miles by 0.2 to get 35 miles per hour. The second one says that we want to subtract 35 from 42 to get the number of miles spent driving. So he wants to know how what his driving speed was, right? So that's this speed right here, that driving speed when he was driving to the train station. So the first thing that we would want to do here is subtract that 35 from 42, okay? Because 42 miles is how long his whole trip is, and 35 miles is how far the train takes him. So to figure out how many miles he drove to get to that train station, I need to do this 42 minus 35, and that is going to give me 7. So that means from his house or wherever he started and he drove himself to that train station, he had to drive 7 miles, which means that our second step is going to be this one. So our second step is going to be dividing that 7 miles by 0.2, because this is how long he was driving. And when we divide those, we get 35 miles per hour. So he was driving 35 miles per hour for 7 miles to get to that train station. Here's our next question. Next question says that Isaac is buying ingredients to bake 4 batches of chocolate chip walnut cookies, and each batch requires 1 bag of each chocolate chips and walnuts. His recipe total shows $17.92. He remembers that the bags of chocolate chips were $2.59 per bag, but he can't remember how much each bag of walnuts cost. How can he determine the cost per bag of walnuts? Match the step of the arithmetic solution with the correct description. Okay, so Isaac is baking 4 batches of cookies here. He's making 4 total batches of cookies. Each one requires 1 bag of chocolate chips and walnuts. So he knows that chocolate chips were $2.59 per bag. And he is baking 4 total batches, which means he needs 4 of these. So if I take 4 and multiply it by 259, I should get something. Let me grab a calculator real quick. Pulling open my Desmos. Here we go. So if I do 4 times 259, I get $10.36. So that's how much he is paying for. That's how much he's paying for those chocolate chips. So I'm reading the two different answer choices just because there is multiple ways to solve this, and it looks like they went about this a little bit differently. So they chose a different approach to this problem, which is fine. So what they did was they're saying, well, I know that he spent a total of this, right? So he spent a total of $17.92 on these bags of chocolate chips and walnuts. So if I want to figure out how much he paid for the walnuts, I know he's making 4 batches of each, which means he's buying 4 of each. So the first thing that I would want to do is take that $17.92 and divide it by 4. And when I do that, you get $4.48. Okay, so this is how much he spends on 1 bag of chocolate chip cookies and 1 bag of walnuts. Okay, so that $4.48 is how much he spends for both a bag of walnuts and a bag of chocolate chips. So to figure out how much each bag of walnuts is, you would then do step 2, which is subtract this price here from this $4.48, because $2.59 is how much each bag of chocolate chips cost. So to figure out how much each bag of walnuts is, I would do $4.48, and I want to subtract that from $2.59, which would give me how much I'm paying for my 1 bag of walnuts. All right, next question says that Otto is making treat bags with candy and stickers for his soccer teammates. He has 12 teammates, and each bag has 4 pieces of candy. He uses a total of 108 items to fill all the bags. How can Otto determine how many stickers are in each bag? Select all that apply. Okay, let's see. So there's 12 people on his soccer team. Okay, so there's 12 teammates on his soccer team, and I know each bag has 4 pieces of candy, and he has a total of 108 items that he's putting in all of these 12 bags. Okay, so the first thing I'm thinking, well, he has these 12 bags, right? So I want to figure out how much he is putting into each of these bags, like how many total pieces each person is getting. So I would do my total, which is 108, and divide that by 12. So when I do 108 divided by 12, I get 9. So that means that 9 items are going into each of those bags. And then I know 4 of those pieces are candy, because it says right here, 4 of those pieces are going to be candy. So if I were to take 9 and subtract 4, I get 5, which means that he is putting 5 stickers in each of those bags. So when I read through my answer choices here, I see since there are 12 bags, we want to divide 108 by 12, perfect, and then we are subtracting, right? That's what we did right here. So one option is this one here. We're subtracting, and then each person is going to get 5 stickers in their bag, perfect. For the second also correct choice here, I'm looking at the very last sentence. Here it says that they're getting 13 stickers, and on D, it says I'm getting 5 stickers in each bag. Right? Well, I know that from solving this problem, and also in B, each teammate should get 5 stickers in their bags, which means D is the correct answer, and C is not, because C has those 13 stickers, and that is not what we want. All right, next question says that Lucia is purchasing 4 milkshakes for herself and her friends. After leaving a tip of $2.50, her total bill was $24.90. She forgot how much each milkshake was, so to figure it out, she subtracted $2.50 from the tip and then divided $22.40 by 4 to get $5.60. Which equation can help Lucia solve to get the same result if C is the cost per milkshake? So for this problem as well as the next one, we kind of have to think backwards, right? When we're solving equations, we're doing the opposite of the math that we see. So the first step that it said she did was she subtracted this $2.50, right? So if I'm subtracting, when I have my equation, I need to see the opposite of that. So the opposite of subtraction here is going to be addition. So these two equations that have this subtraction, I do not want to see those. Okay, because remember when I'm solving it, I'm going to do the opposite. So now I'm left with these two here, B and C. And then it says she divided 2240 by 4. So the opposite of this division, opposite of division is multiplication, which means I want to choose the one that represents multiplication. So here, this 4C plus 250 equals 2490. If I were to solve this, the first thing I would do is subtract this 250, which matches this step right here. Then I'm left with 4C equals 2240. The next thing to get C by itself, if I were to solve this, is I would want to divide both sides by 4, which again is this next step where it's saying she's dividing by 4. And when she does that, she figures out that each milkshake was $5.60. All right, next problem says that Saul correctly solved a math problem by first dividing 18 by 6, then adding 5 to the result, which equation could be solved to get the same answer. Okay, so again, we want to see the opposite of what he's doing, because remember, Saul is solving it. So when we're solving equations, we're doing inverse operations, which is the opposite of the math we see. The first thing he did was this division, okay? And this one's a little bit trickier because remember that if I have problems like B and C here, I need to work furthest away from my variable, which means I would want to be getting rid of this 5 first. However, Saul here is dividing 18 by 6, and that doesn't include a 5 in either one. So these two are both going to be crossed out. Those can't be options we have. If I look at A and D, both of them have these parentheses. And remember, this kind of looks like a distribution problem. If I were to pull just this, right here, I would multiply the 6 in. So the opposite of multiplying 6 is dividing by 6, right? So if I take both of these sides and divide it by 6, these cancel, and I'd be left with just x plus 5 equals 18. Same thing down here, I could divide both sides by 6. These will cancel, and I'm left with x minus 5 equals 3. Whoops, that's not 18, that's a 3, because I have to divide it by 6. Okay. Then it says that he is adding 5 to the result. So remember, I'm looking for the opposite of addition in my problems. If I look here, I see addition. Well, addition is not the opposite of addition. They're the same thing, right? But if I look down here, I see subtraction. So this subtraction sign, when I do the opposite of subtraction, I am adding. So D is the correct answer I would want to pick here. And then let me just do it from the top so we can see what's going on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide by 6 on both sides. When I do that, these will cancel. I'm left with just what's in my parentheses. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So there's that division. The next thing I'm doing is adding 5, right? Opposite of this minus 5 I see here is going to be plus 5. So I'm going to add 5 to each side. And that's going to give me x equals 8. So there was that addition. So these ones are a little bit tricky. Go slow on these ones. Make sure you're reading it carefully and that you're looking at your different answer choices. All right, that is all that I have for lesson 6. If you have any questions, please let me know.